7:01. Bill has asked me to take over since he has some difficulty speaking this evening. Okay, the first thing for the agenda is the minutes of our previous two meetings. Has everyone had time to view them from yesterday, that when we received them, and today?
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to review all of them, and I had a change, so can we hold off on those until the next meeting?
Was it one of them or both of them?
Oh, just the one I was in attendance at. The first,
Okay, so that was the previous, that was the,
the first one,
that would have been 8/19.
yeah.
Okay,
I haven't finished, but I had a change. I only got to page 2.
I added that yet today.
Yeah, you can
so
do
9/2 was the last meeting that we had on the strawberry.
Yeah, I'm good with that one.
Okay, is there a motion to accept the minutes for 9/2/21?
Make a motion to accept the minutes from the 9/2/21 meeting.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, next on the agenda is a continued hearing for long-built homes. It's a notice of intent for the development of Hunters Hill subdivision. Evan Watson represents the applicant for this project, and Brandon Fanoff of Ecosystems is our wetland peer reviewer. Do we have the applicant here?
No, they requested a continuance.
Okay. Is there a motion to continue the hearing for long-built homes?
I make a motion to continue hearing for long-built homes until 10/21/21 meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can everybody sign in? There's a clipboard if you want to pass it around.
Okay, Lisa.
Okay.
Okay, next on the agenda is a continued hearing for Forest Hill Estates. Joshua Glass, who represents DI Trust, has requested a continuance to our 10/21 meeting. Lisa, you were going to explain the reason?
Oh, the reasoning is, well, there has been no peer review to date because Joshua Glass has asked them to hold off until their engineers have made the requested changes the planning board requested and issued the additional information to them. And once that happens, he'll give them a go. So we could table it, or we could just continue it. He's requested a continuance.
Okay, so is there a motion to continue the hearing for Forest Hills?
Make a motion to continue Forest Hills Estates notice of intent to 10/21/21 meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, we have a new hearing starting for tonight. It's New England Power, and they are to replace 4 existing electric transmission structures within the electric utility right-of-way that passes over Chestnut Street into Dayton, Mass. The 4 structures to be replaced are existing directly embedded wooden H-frames identified as structural, well, I guess we don't need the numbers, and this is to give them access to modifications for their existing overhead equipment. Okay, okay, thank you. And you are?
My name is Adam Rosenblatt. I'm with VHB, and I'm the agent representing New England Power here tonight.
And your last name, please?
Rosenblatt, Rosenblatt.
Okay, thank you.
You got it. So this is a pretty straightforward project. You folks have probably seen the plans. I apologize, this is so small. If you'd like this copy, I could bring it up and you guys could.
You each
No,
have,
we have our own.
Yeah.
so,
Okay, very good. Well, I'll talk to the plan slightly. There's a proposal to install a new electric feeder on Chestnut Street. So there's an existing overhead line there now. They're going to be putting a feeder line on there as a result of a project that's going on in the town of Rehoboth for the installation of a new substation. So when this feeder gets installed on Chestnut Street, there is enough clearance between where that feeder is going to be and the current wires are right now on the C181 and D182 transmission lines that fly over Chestnut, which is these two circuits here. So they need to raise the height of structures. And that's the reason why we're here, is because they have to replace those structures with slightly taller structures so they have appropriate clearance between the energized conductors on the transmission line and those that are going to be installed as part of the feeder line. So the structures that are there now, they're directly embedded wooden H-frame structures, so they kind of look like an H. There's two wood poles that go in the ground. They're going to be replaced with a similar type structure. It'll still be an H-frame. It's going to be made out of steel, but it will still be directly embedded. So there's no formal foundation or foundation installation process. They will be a little taller. It's going to be the pre-weathered steel, which is Core 10 steel. It's kind of the stuff that looks like rust. So it kind of blends in with the landscape and also matches the color of the existing wooden poles that are in the right-of-way there today. Two of those structures are presently in wetland. They're in BVW on the south side of Chestnut Street. They're going to be replaced in basically about the same location. They can shift them about 10 feet. So they'll get about 10 feet away from the existing structure, set the new one. Once that's set, framed, and the wires are transferred over, they'll take the old poles out and they'll restore those areas. So you kind of have a one-to-one replacement of those two small areas where the structures are going to be. Each pole is roughly 2.5 feet in diameter, and they get embedded to a depth of roughly 13 feet. The structures that are next in line from the four that are to be replaced, which are the two either north or south, have to also be accessed so that they can do adjustments to the insulators and the wires on top when they put the new structures in. So those will be basically, there's a right-of-way access road that's made of gravel out there. They'll drive on that road with bucket trucks and boom up in order to get to the areas that they need to do the adjustments or the modifications to on those structures. Typically, they would mow a work pad initially when they get there. So that can be an area that's roughly 80 by 100. They'll mow that out. They don't do any grubbing. They lay down temporary construction mats, which are the wooden timber mats, and those are used basically to help to disperse the weight of the vehicles so that you don't have any soil disturbance. When they get lifted up, typically for a project of this size, which is relatively small, they'll be down for a short duration, maybe 1 to 2 months. It's going to be over the winter. It's supposed to be in the schedule right now. I think it's a January to March window that they're looking at. So they'll be in the winter. Vegetation will pop back up during the growing season next year. You probably won't even know they were there. If there is any soil disturbance as part of the matting, they would stabilize that with an appropriate native wetland seed mix or a conservation or pollinator mix if they're out of the wetland. Then they mulch that with straw, weed-free straw. For the poles themselves, when they do the installation, those would have a compost filter sock installed around them, around the excavation area to protect the wetland on either side, typically with a mat build like they're going to use for these. The construction mat platform will have gaps in it for where the poles are going to be, and they line the inside of that with compost filter socks. So it's all contained in basically a rectangle inside of that work pad area. When they're done, the area inside that little rectangle basically will get restored with wetland topsoil if needed, but what they typically try and do is preserve the material from where they're going to excavate for the new foundation, or the new structure, save that on the side, and they'll use that to restore where they pull the old poles out so that you kind of have, the existing material, root layer, seed source all right there, for when they're done. And anything inside of that area, again, we'll get a New England Wetland seed mix application and then straw mulch. And typically, National Grid hires what they call an environmental monitor, who's someone who will go out on a weekly basis and inspect the construction progress, make sure that erosion controls are functioning appropriately. If they need to be supplemented, that they get supplemented properly. And that's for the duration of construction. And then following restoration as well to make sure that these areas revegetate the way they're supposed to. So for a winter construction job, that would mean, we'd have someone out there. New England Power has hired VHB to do that. So I'd have one of my staff take care of that. And then once construction is complete in March, we'd probably have somebody go back out in sort of late May to make sure that all the vegetation came back just fine. And once we've confirmed that it has, we close the project out. So that's basically why we're here today. The construction matting is less than half an acre. And like I said, it should be, a duration of 1 to 2 months. Typically, they come in about 2 weeks before they're ready to start work to do that prep by putting the matting down. They'll do their installation of the poles, then do all the wire transfers. And then once they've done that, remove the old poles, and they take the mats out. And that process could take, 4 to 8 weeks. It depends on weather. It's winter construction, so if there's storms and they have to do storm response where they're restoring power, they're not going to be out doing like routine projects like this. They'll be taking care of, getting the power back on for people first, and then they go back to doing the job. So that's why you can kind of have a bit of a window for how long it takes.
Okay, thank you. Bill, you have any questions? Bill, you have any? No, they come next. Charlie, you have any questions? Anyone else down?
No.
Do we, okay, your name, please?
Nate Hershey.
Yes,
I live on Chestnut Street. I just had a few questions.
go ahead.
Can I approach, can I see where those poles are?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. So these are, this is Rehoboth, this is Dayton, this is north,
Correct.
south, and which poles are they?
It's the 4
Right
that
here.
are on either side of
Okay.
Chestnut Street.
Okay. And you said that these are 2 feet in diameter roughly?
Roughly, yeah.
Okay. So up a little bit further off Maynard, I brought a picture.
Yes.
Is that what it will look like?
So this is a switch structure.
We see that?
Sure.
Yep. So that large structure with all the equipment on top is a switch structure. These are not switch structures. These are going to be basically the similar style H-frame that is there today. They will be that color. That's how they look. That's the weathered steel.
So that's a rust finish?
Yeah, patina.
Raw steel.
It's called Core 10 steel. It's a pre-weathered steel.
Does it continue to rust?
No. The intent of the exterior rush or rust is so that it doesn't continue to erode. And these poles typically have a lifespan that's in the 100-year magnitude.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions from those in attendance?
I had one other question.
Yeah.
How big are the wood structures there currently?
I think what's there now is probably 65 footers.
How about in diameter?
They're roughly 2 feet.
2 feet. So they're going to be replaced with pretty much the same look?
The horizontal size of the pole is going to be the same. The steel poles are slightly larger. They're about 2.5 feet. As far as the height, they will be taller.
Okay, thank you.
And Adam and I did a site visit on September 8th, and we walked the areas. It's all flagged, and I'm familiar and comfortable with what Grid does and how VHB monitors.
Yes, we have always had success with them.
You didn't hear anything okay. I said Adam and I reviewed the site, did a site visit together, and I'm familiar and comfortable with National Grid work and VHB monitoring.
At this site.
Well, in general, yeah, but yeah, all the flags are present, and, I mean, the plan's thorough, and they're gonna have an environmental monitor there, so.
Thank you.
Yep,
Okay, so you're satisfied?
yeah.
Okay, Nate?
I have one more question. Are there other finishes besides rust available?
Well, typically when they go to steel, there's two options. One is the Core-10 steel, which is the rusted look, and the other is a galvanized steel, which is a, shiny galvanized look. Those are, if you're driven by substations, that's typically the color, of the structures that you see in a substation. So the pre-weathered steel is meant to try and, blend the structure in with the landscape as much as possible. It also most closely resembles the color of the existing wood structures that are in the right-of-way that would remain.
Okay, if there is no further debate, is someone going to make a motion on the floor?
They do have a DEP file number also. Do you?
Yeah, it came
Yeah.
in this morning. Yep.
Okay, yeah. Yep.
Do you have it? I have it.
0444, right?
Yep, 0170444. Yep.
Do we need an order of conditions?
Yes.
Make a motion to approve the project and issue an order of conditions?
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? Okay, thank you, Bill. Okay, now we have a new hearing.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Adam.
Thanks, Susan.
It's a notice of intent request from Richard Fedorov of Rainham to construct a single-family dwelling and structures on Lot 9S2 Stonegate Landing subdivision. Okay.
Good evening, sir.
So before we start, I just want to let everybody know that I received the green cards and the abutters list. However, you do not have a DEP file number yet.
I'm sorry, Lisa, I can't understand the
Okay.
word you're saying.
I received the abutter list and the notification cards, but you don't have DEP file numbers from DEP yet. You don't have,
It's been quite a while, yeah.
yeah, did you email, I mean,
With tracking, certified, well, I'll show you what I
to
did.
Lakeville?
Yeah, to Lakeville, and, so it's all right.
Yeah. Did you email it like I told you to? I know I told you to email it.
Okay, I'm not sure.
Yeah, you got it.
No, I think Larry Silver's office did that, okay?
Double check with them.
And I attached the check, and the
Yep.
checks are cleared,
Yeah, that doesn't matter though.
right? But I did send it, in an envelope, and with tracking on it, they have received it.
Okay, you should probably follow up with them, because we
Okay.
can't close the hearings until they issued the file numbers.
Okay, I haven't been notified myself, but.
No, I checked it today. It's not
Yeah.
on the list.
And I sent that on August 16th, so it's been almost a full month since I sent it. And the check's cleared within a couple days, so I don't know what happened.
Check to see if Silva's office actually emailed the whole file, because that's how
I'm
DEP
pretty sure they
wants.
did,
Yeah.
on my behalf, okay? And they just gave me the checks to put in the mail, because
Yeah.
obviously you can't email that.
But go
I'll check
ahead,
with them in the morning.
yeah,
Okay, well, this
present,
is going to be continued anyway because you don't have your file number, but make your presentation for what you wish to do, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I think you all have a packet. This is for 2 lots at Stonegate Landing, right over here.
can you just read it off so everybody knows which lot numbers?
Oh,
and-
okay. Yeah, the first, 2 separate hearings, right? So
Yeah.
the first one's Lot 2 Stonegate Landing, which is located just to the right of 981 Stonegate Landing. And the other Lot 4 is on the other side of 981 Stone. So they're very close to each other, they're 75 feet apart. Prior to filing, we had the wetland line brought up to date and delineated, and I provided that information to Lisa. Then I went back to the engineer and repositioned the houses on the lot to stay as far away as possible from the wetland line. I think, you know, in Stonegate, of course, is a 40B permit and is not subject to the conservation bylaw because, of course, 40B overrules that. But in the permit I got, they said at the time that we'd like to try to stay at least 25 feet from that. And, you know, the board is probably, the commission is probably very used to very big lots. But for example, both lot 2 and 4 only has 75 feet of frontage. By the permit requires that we stay at least 45 feet off the street. And if you look at the plan for lot 2, you'll see a dotted line around where the house is located. And that's on my building envelope, and there's not much that's per the permit. So on lot 2, on the right side, I'm pretty close to as close as I could be to the street. And I had to even calculate in the steps and all that. So on lot 2, you show the siltation barrier, and that barrier is already up, and Lisa's been out to look at it. And so there's not, this one, we're a pretty good distance from the wetland line. You know, you can see it's, you know, as a matter of fact, if you look at the top of the plan on the left side of the house, we're a full 80 feet from the closest point on the wetland line. And so that's even beyond what your 50-foot requirement would require. And so we're well away, and it actually does conform with that wetland bylaw because I'm 80 feet away. But because we're within 100 feet anywhere, we had to come here tonight. So I would respectfully ask you to approve as shown, and we'll answer any questions you might have.
Charlie, any questions? Bill?
I have a question. What work is proposed within the 50-foot no-touch?
Excuse me?
Is there any work proposed within the 50-foot no-touch? No building, sorry.
No building, no. The building, the closest the building is 80 feet.
Okay, so they'll be grading closer, but the erosion controls are approximately how many feet off the wetland edge do you estimate?
From the left side of the house, it's
40 to
about,
50?
what's that?
40 to 50?
40 to 50 feet, yeah. At the closest, and if you go to the other side, it's 50 to 60.
Just for the record, I did get a couple of calls from some neighbors, I'm not sure if they're here. Eleanor Costa at 274 Center Street, and Denise Shea, and I did not get her address. Okay, so I don't know if anyone
Okay.
wants, yeah.
Do we have any questions from attendees?
Questions, Jim? Questions?
No, you're fine. I'm good. I just need to see this because I have not seen this. So my concern is, I live in the orchard.
You live in the orchard?
Yeah, okay.
You know, that was like, no,
Excuse me.
it cost me a million feet for the
Excuse me.
orchard.
Just saying.
Okay,
Okay, so,
Speak to us, please.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So, what I'm concerned about is when he starts building these homes and the wetlands are there, right behind those lots is our land, and that is already loaded with water. It's always wet, it's always flooded. My concern is if he starts playing with anything in the ground there with any of the wetlands or any of the little ponds that are surrounding because there's one on one of these lots, is it gonna end up dumping into our land? The water?
It's going to depend upon the grading of the property.
Well, that's my concern.
I can address that. If you look at the plan, this will be helpful for you.
I mean, I'm not an engineer, but I just,
Okay, so this is, I don't know if you went by, that's where we always put up a siltation
Yep.
fence, okay? That's when we're going no further than that. So nothing's gonna change back here. And the wetland line is a good, 70, 80 feet beyond. There'll be no more tree cutting or anything like that.
right, because it's all down.
What's that?
Most of the trees are down, right? Most of the trees are down already.
Yeah, we're not cutting anymore. And where the trees, the tree line now is just behind the sill fence.
Okay,
And if you look at that spot, actually for a while, the grade goes up, okay? So, and the design of the house is to shed everything to the street,
yep.
okay? So I don't think it will impact you at all. There is quite a bit of water back here.
It's a ton of it. And
Yeah.
that's our big concern is, I mean, it's bad enough we get flooded all the time.
Yeah.
But where are you placing this house? Can you just show that to me?
Yeah, right here.
Okay, and where is the wetlands?
And that's 42 feet at this point from the street,
But where is the wetlands?
way out here.
On this lot?
Yep.
So this house is almost gonna sit on the street?
Yeah,
Well, it's
pretty
25
close.
feet back.
Right.
He moved it.
Okay, so I guess my question being then, if you're disrupting the ground,
Everything that's
Everything's
been
gonna grade out
disrupted's
to
already
this-
been done.
okay, so it's gonna grade out to, your side of the property and not ours?
Well, we traditionally follow the street down.
Yep.
Where are you?
I'm in the orchard, I can't tell by
You're
here, I
back
don't.
here? Where's the orchard?
Are you? Huh?
Maybe you can help me with
Yeah,
that.
thanks, Pat.
Yeah, I don't have a bigger plan.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is one of the lots.
I
we're
do.
right here. So we run all the way
Denise Shea.
around here from there.
Well,
Untitled Chapter.
you look on this, okay? This lot is over 500 feet deep.
Yeah,
All the work's gonna be done in the first 80 feet.
okay,
We're not coming close.
all right.
Okay, and so you won't come close to the wetland when you're digging your foundations out there?
No, if you went by, the foundation's already been dug.
Right, and
It's
it looks
way up
really
by the
wet.
street. What?
Yeah, it looks really.
Oh, well, the
it's
ground
full-
is very,
It's very wet, it's always wet out
Yeah,
there. And that is my
If
concern.
you went after that big rainstorm,
Yeah.
grab his grade.
Oh, no, I've walked it a few times since this has all been happening, and I'm just concerned. I love what you guys
Should be
did.
concerned.
I love what you guys did up there, increased the value of our homes tremendously. I appreciate it. I just don't need any more water over towards us, and that's my big issue. So if you're gonna grade, and you're gonna grade up, and it's gonna come away from us, that's fine.
Well, there will be some, right now, there's already water heading your way,
Yep.
okay? Yeah, but
Yep.
we're not gonna increase that.
Okay.
Okay? We may not make it better. but we're
No, I
not
don't,
gonna
I'm not
increase that,
asking you to make it better, I just don't
Okay, are
want
we all
to.
set now?
Keep
We all
in
set?
mind,
I am, I just wanna ask about the second lot, is that you?
well, we have to.
We haven't
finish this
gotten to that
hearing
one
first.
yet.
So stay around for the next
All
one.
right, thank you.
Are there any other questions for the applicant on Lot 2? Lot 2. This is Lot 2 we're dealing with.
Lot two, where is that?
I'll show you.
I got no work, big work,
This lot right here is a Center Street. This is lot 2. He's gonna put the house right up to the front where it's already clear, the wetlands back here.
Okay, I visited that site today. What I'm concerned,
You might wanna look at that.
what I'm concerned about is,
Can you bring it closer, please?
I live on 290 Center Street. There's a lot of water in the back of him and the back of me. He's talking about putting drainage in there. But I went by there like last week. Those two holes that he's talking about, foundation holes, they're loaded with water, filled with water. They didn't go down for quite a while. So what kind of drainage is he gonna put in to alleviate that problem?
You're on. Explain it, please.
Yeah, one thing about the soils at Stonegate, they don't drain, okay? And what you saw is in a hole, and the water just set. I mean, we got a lot of rain, but we would do it during a vertical storm. But it's just sitting there, there's no ways to go, and it can't sink through the ground because it's all clay. All right, so in order to keep the key is to let it dry out, put the foundations, backfill it, and make sure all the grade now it goes away from the house towards the street where there already is an existing drainage system.
Okay. What guarantee you're gonna give me after you build those, that I'm not gonna get any water back in my house on 290 Center Street? Can you give me a guarantee tonight?
You know,
What is his
You
name?
can't,
No,
no.
what I can,
Yeah. What is your name, sir?
Johnny Machado, 290 Center Street.
Shadow, 290.
it's gotten worse since any of those houses have been built.
Yeah, yeah, when you start disturbing soil here and there, water's gotta go somewhere. When they started building that Stonegate Landing, they're diverting the water someplace else. They're not alleviating the problem.
Well, you know, prior to that Stonegate being built, the water was even worse out there, okay? And my predecessor built that road, put a drainage system in, retention basins, it should have lowered what you were getting, okay? But now we need to build some houses, okay? But all the work is being done is within 80 feet of the street. And we have the ability to grade it towards the street. Now, a little will continue to go that way, all right? But again, on lot number 2, if you look, you walk with me out there, I can show you the grade goes up, okay? Away from your troubled area. And it should go fair.
Water flows downhill. You're higher than I am on 290 Center Street.
But if you, then your lot, before the land goes up and then it goes down. So it won't climb that hill, I promise. And nothing beyond that point is going to be touched. So I really don't think it'll have any impact at all. What someone does 5 years from now, they have to keep an eye on.
Well, I mean, one more question, and I'll let somebody else answer. There's acres of land out there. Why that particular piece of land? Why do you have to build there? Why can't you build somewhere else in the area there?
Well, that was a permit that was approved back in 2006 by the Zoning Board of Appeals, and it's the goal of any 40B project is to provide affordable housing, and that's the plan they settled on. The one I inherited, I had nothing to do with it.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Richard, I have a question for you. Are you gonna put, roof drains? Are you putting roof drains? I mean, there's gonna be gutters, where is the water gonna
Well,
go?
what I'm gonna do, I could, the front yard is not an issue at all, okay? Because everything is okay. Okay? It's proper grading, and you can come check me on that, okay?
Okay, sure. I mean, I live right there, so I'm retired.
Okay? I'm serious, okay? And I will go into detail. My job is to keep, is to send the majority of the water to the street, go into the existing catch basins, which are right in front of the house, okay? So there'll be minimum going back, and what's going back would have to go uphill to get to you.
Okay, so you'd be putting drainage, you were putting a catch basin on Stonegate Landing,
There are already catch basins there.
okay, into the Center Street system.
What's that?
Into the Center Street catch basins.
Yeah, everything goes that way, and they've been doing a lot of work up there. And you know, along Center Street, there was a old-fashioned, what we call drainage swales, where the water just runs in there. But the town itself has been making improvements out there, and, but that's been going on forever. And I think
Okay,
you don't feel
all
that.
right, thanks.
Okay.
Okay.
One more question. The drain that you're talking about, the drains, they're not popping into the town surge, they're just popping out into the land. The drainage, you're talking about the drainage?
No, it's a closed system, basically, it goes into the catch basin, into a manhole, and it all goes back to Center Street.
Okay, all
But
right.
in Stonegate, we're going the other way, away from you guys.
All right.
Are we all set here? Are there any other questions?
We're not closing the public hearing, so you can come to the next meeting if you have any more concerns.
Okay, is there a motion to continue the hearing for Lot 9-2 Stonegate Landing?
I make a motion, we continue Stonegate Landing, lot 9-2-S until our 10/21/21 meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. Okay, next on the agenda is, again, a new hearing on Stonegate Landing. This one here is on Lot 9-4. Lisa, do you have a map on that one too for us?
Yep, I do. Hold on one second. Oh, You actually, no, you don't have one. Richard, do you have copies for them?
I'm sorry.
You have copies for Lot 4.
Oh, you didn't have them?
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, don't give them that. It's all right. I'll give them these. It's okay. They're all just part of the,
Well, you know, once we get our bearing, you know, we're going to be right on target.
just pass this down.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Let me, what you're looking at, too. Where's the roadway coming in here? Okay.
Stonegate Landing, Lot 4.
That's adjacent to lot
One of these lots is on
Your
one side
locus,
Okay.
your locus map is wrong, Richard.
And it's all, like he mentioned, sewer,
Yeah, we
have sewer. Yeah,
sewer, we have sewer,
town water.
town water,
It's not.
underground utilities.
Okay.
Richard, your locus map is wrong. You have it right here, it's not.
Well, that is, we got one,
Your lot is over here, on the other side of the street.
It's Center Street. Oh, you come in Center Street,
Yeah.
this is lot 1, this is lot 2, that's lot 3, and that's lot 4. It's not very good quality, but that's it, they're right here.
Okay, do we have it over
Yeah,
here now?
that's the pump station's right across the street.
When you brought me out, you brought me and showed me one of these, so I'm gonna have to review that one still.
Well, it's gonna be continued anyway, Lisa.
It's on the, if you go up, it's on the right-hand side, remember?
We walked the first one.
Okay, so here it is here.
The other one is right next to it. It's 70 feet away.
It's okay.
Okay,
Even so, I'll take a look at it.
well, it's gonna be continued anyway, Lisa, so,
Yeah, I
so,
mean, here's lot 2, oh, that's,
3,
yeah, it's 75 feet to the other lot.
okay, okay. And here's your, okay, all right, make your presentation, please.
Have to borrow.
It's, when, who has a lot, oh, here it is here.
Can you pass that down, no?
Oh,
The same.
that's Lisa's.
Lot 4, which is 75 feet away, is a much tighter situation, okay? If you look at the plan, again, I referenced the building envelope, and I have moved that house as close to Stonegate Landing that zoning would allow me to do that, okay? And what you're looking on here is the existing sill fence, okay? And we have, where that is just 20 feet behind the house at one point, okay? And we're probably, we are showing a, 25-foot buffer, but that's very, very tight. And I'd actually like to move it 10 feet further away to give the person a decent backyard. 20 feet in the backyard is not much, okay? And 40 is usually what I like to do, but it wouldn't mean moving it further back. We could take precautions, so protect the wetland, but, if you look at this, from the house is 40 feet back, which it has to be, and the house is 24 feet deep, where this line is with the station, you only give the homeowner a 20-foot backyard, okay? And, if you go to this 10 by 14 foot deck, they got 10 feet, all right? And so I'd like to get it further back for 40 feet, hold it there, do some erosion control, okay, whatever we can do to make it work, you know?
Okay, so you're gonna have to give us a revised plan on that.
Okay, well,
You're grading over here, though.
yeah,
It's going right into the,
yeah, I did this, and this, like here is, that's 60, this is 58,
Yeah,
okay?
so
I'd like to
that's
bring
all
it back to the 58 line, that's 2 feet more. If I brought it back down there, I could give them decent. Okay, the engineer put on 25 feet,
So
which,
you'd be in the,
Okay, so,
within that buffer, though, right?
Our local regs don't apply to this,
I know, but
I know.
they don't apply, but then he's, just to give the person a deck, he's going into it,
Yeah.
correct?
well, I'm not in the wetlands, no.
I know, but you're
I'm
in-
more than 25, I'm not 25. Again, the way the permit was written is that this project, because it's a 40B, wasn't subject to the 50-foot zoning, wetland zoning, okay? And the permit asked us, at the time it was permitted way back in 2006, to attempt as best we can to keep it at least 25 feet away, okay? This would bring probably down to 15 feet, but, you know, these lots, did what you're looking for, you were looking an acre or whatever.
Yeah, that's
The whole thing was
30,000, yeah,
designed that
34,000
way,
square
you know?
feet.
Because just from the street back to where that siltation fence is now, it's 40,
So you still have to send
it's only 85
a
feet.
revised plan, or you're trying to say?
Yeah, we just don't have enough space, you know, and it was never, when it was approved, all these same rules are in effect, okay, and it said do the best you can, and I would just like to push it a little bit closer, 15 feet, so that we can give them a decent backyard. I'd move it forward, but I can't. I can't move it either way. I'm
And
stuck
is
where
there a certain limit on the sides, because it's 18 feet, what's the
I'm sorry.
side distance supposed to be on a 40B?
What size?
Sides,
Side setbacks.
15 feet.
15, so you're 18 right
Yeah,
there,
so
okay.
15, well, I got 15's 30, yeah, I got 3 extra feet, okay? And it wouldn't make a significant difference, and it would...
I know that, I'm wondering what it
Yeah,
is.
you keep in mind too, that this lot from the street is over 400 feet deep. But the wetland's right in the middle of everything. And again, for the people at the orchard, we're 400 feet away from you, okay? All the work will be within 85 feet of the street. And, you know, the way it is.
all right, so, you seem to say two different things. One, that you wanted to move the house to give them a bigger backyard.
No,
and
I
then
wanna
you're
leave the
saying
house right
Then
where
you're
it
saying
is.
you can't. Okay, that was...
I'm sorry, I don't
found
want to
that
move
very
the house, no.
confusing.
The house has already been moved, okay?
Okay,
But-
so the plan that we have is the plan that will be.
Yes.
Okay.
It's just,
Do anyone here on the,
Saying he wanted to expand the backyard more than what he showed, right? Is that what you're saying?
that's all on that, yeah.
So
yeah.
in that case, what I would suggest, if the commission is gonna agree to that, then we need to put some sort of demarcation along the wetland edge so that these people know
well,
there's no
usually we
further-
ask for permanent markers at the designated areas.
Yeah, the 25-foot no touch, but in this case, there won't be a 25-foot no touch, so you guys have to determine the distance.
Well, that's not for right at this moment.
Okay.
Yeah, I would leave, you know, a small fence, something just to keep it from going back any further, okay? But it's just that, based on the parameters in the permit, in getting as close to the street as I can, if I leave, the permit asks that we do our best to leave 25 feet, okay? But it's just would really, you know, make it difficult backyard and because, you know, and so I just like to do it a little bit better for the homeowner. I wish I could move it up 20 feet to the street, but I can't. I can't move it left to right. And I just want to give the future homeowner a decent yard to work with. And if we want to put up some kind of sign or whatever, just say, hey, don't go beyond this. And that's important because you don't have a sign, new people move in, they just, you know, they don't
Okay.
understand the process.
Do we have any questions for the applicant? Anyone in the attendees have questions?
Yeah. Anthony Borba, 324 Center Street. My house lot is directly behind
This lot number 4. I'm concerned about the water table, for sure. The amount of property that's actually there. When they cleared this lot, there was a huge, huge boulder in the middle of that lot. They had to bring an excavator in with a drill hammer on the end of the excavator, and they had to pulverize that lot day after day after day before they could put that lot in, to bring it down so that there's actually where the cutout of the lot will be. All of that dirt and all of that rock went on the back of my property line.
That shouldn't have happened.
It's right on the back of my property.
Where were you?
324, I'm directly behind. When I look out my kitchen window, on the other side of my lot is that lot number 4. It's the last, is it
So
the
you're
last?
saying,
Actually, it's probably lot 2, sir, okay?
No, well,
Oh, lot 2 is the one closest to
All
Seventh
right.
Street. Lot 2 is the closest. to
Okay,
7th Street.
then-
Just to, you know, okay?
you have it, you sure?
Yeah, yeah, this is lot 2, lot 1, but there's another lot in here. that shows-
Okay, so you said 324 Center?
Yes.
What's your, is this you here? I think we spoke on the phone, right?
Yes.
Oh, boy. Bear with me, technical difficulties. Do you know what your lot number is? Do you know what your lot number is?
I think I can help you with that. If you see, there's my lot 1. This is that's a vacant lot, I think. You must be in this area somewhere,
Are
sir.
you this one? Are you the one that goes deep in the back, or are you this one? No, you're not that one, because that's her.
No.
Geez, I can't believe that there'd be any other lots to the left of me. The road is right there.
What road? Is this,
The
this
entrance,
is you?
the entrance
So
to
this is
Stonegate
you.
Landing.
This is you.
Right.
Okay,
Is
let me
that
pull
the-
it up right here.
Is that the first house going that way?
Yes.
Because-
You can see it on the aerial now. This is you? Right here?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So the lot, the first lot, this is the lot, the
Right.
first lot he discussed,
That was
two.
lot 2, yeah.
And
Okay.
so
Okay.
the other lot is
Why I
this
say,
lot.
why I say that is because it shows up here as lot 4.
There's 4 and 2.
We sent 2 notices.
Yeah,
sir.
he's gonna do
Okay.
4, which is this one, and 2, which is this one. And you're here.
Right.
So on lot 2, he's gonna be at the front, the wetlands at the back.
Okay. My interest is the one that is directly behind
Yeah.
my property.
Well, we're not discussing that one anymore. We just finished discussing it, but
But
you
he
can
can-
come to the next meeting.
okay, can I make a recommend? After this is finished, talk to this man about, if it's there, about removing it or whatever it is, if it's there. I mean, here's gonna be a prime opportunity to do it. If they put it on your property, that becomes civil action. But if it's still on their property and it's that, let's say, obtrusive in appearance, I'm sure he's the one who can help you to take care of it. And you can deal with that separately.
As you said to Mr. Machado, I'm 2 houses away from him to the left, which is closest
Okay.
to Stonegate
Would
Landing.
you mind if I just stop by?
324.
What's the street address?
Center Street, 324 Center.
324?
Yes. And I'm also retired, so anytime you're in the area,
Well, I was gonna say, why don't we just walk out there,
Yeah.
okay? And you get a they're gonna vote on it tonight.
Yeah.
And we can talk about it and get back to,
because I have pictures of all the water that is still there, up to a couple of days ago,
Yeah.
that was in that foundation for days and days.
it was that deep.
But be mindful that,
Yeah,
so far this month, we've had a little in excess of 8 inches of rain this month.
I'm very aware of that.
Yeah, and
The rocks.
Yeah.
Those are all the rocks that are in the backyard,
And frankly, any
Yeah,
water in the foundation
or in
is
in
more
my
of
backyard.
the
That's
building
obviously
commissioner's problem
water.
than ours.
Yeah, I know, I agree. It's there,
Okay.
for sure. I mean, we haven't finished cleaning that up either.
We're
That's the
tasked,
back property, that's the
we're
back.
tasked with conservation, protecting the resources, and water in the foundation just means that the surface water has gone there, that's more of a building commissioner issue.
Okay. Is there anyone else in the audience that has a question?
Okay,
I would,
okay.
because I'd like to see what the back of that is also.
You have a question?
Here's the question.
Okay, yeah, mine is more of a comment than a question.
Okay.
We received notification on the 9.2S, but some of our neighbors got also the 9.4S. Not everybody got the notification on the 9.4S.
Oh, it goes by distance.
Oh.
How far are you by
Okay.
footage from that lot?
Okay,
Yeah, 300 feet.
You would have been notified on 2 and not 4.
alright,
Okay, it's 300 feet from the
Okay,
side of the
fair
lot. It's if you were 50 feet further down, you wouldn't have gotten notice. Okay?
well, that makes sense.
That's why you got it on 2, because 2's close to Center Street, or just outside, that's 300 foot side.
Fair enough, thanks.
Is there anyone else? Okay, is there a motion to continue the hearing to October?
I make a motion to continue Stonegate Landing, Lot 9-4-S until our 10/21/21 meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. Okay. We have a new hearing here now. It's a notification to amend a notice of intent. This is by TLC Development on Winthrop Street, and this is to construct a driveway through a bordering vegetated wetland. Please, excuse me, sir, could you go outside and pick up your other discussion?
Say hi. Thank you.
Okay, and to install a box culvert over a perennial stream in order to access the uplands in the rear of the, on lot 22.
Good evening, how you doing? Rebecca, Jim Marsh, good to see you again. Bill?
Jim?
Jim. So we're here on an amendment to the order of conditions. The order of conditions was issued back in March of 2020. This is just to consider a minor modification. I'm here with Jack O'Leary from Green Seal. He's here to answer any technical questions. You know, we've provided information, I think as far back as March of this year, that concerns what we're looking for here to amend the initial order. We've got a new proposed culvert design. We want to move the replication area from the back of the property to the front, and we've been asked to show the home on the plan, which we have here on this revised plan. Like I said, this information, I think, was provided by Jack back in March of this year. We sought to get on the commission's agenda for some time. The question was raised as to whether there were other approvals that were necessary. There are. I can tell you that we're relatively close, and we've had discussions with the state, the DEP, as to a decision which we expect to be forthcoming on the issue of Chapter 91 jurisdiction. And my understanding from my discussions with them is that there's no need for a license, a Chapter 91 license. So we're moving close. We should be receiving those necessary approvals. So we're here tonight to essentially tighten up what we need at the local level so we can fit in the construction within this season for this culvert. Obviously, there's a time period for which we've started the sort of the clock on having a decision from the commission. You guys have a direction, obviously, to make a decision. Ultimately, we're looking to close on tonight's hearing because, as Jack will go through, this is really minor. I don't think there'll be a whole lot of questions, but if necessary, he's here to answer them. So I will pass it over to Jack and let him go ahead and If there's any follow-up I can answer, I'll be happy to.
I just wanted to make one correction for the record. You were before us in like March with this, and then we had a site visit and discussed that the changes would, any amended order would wait until we're done with the DEP process. So it's not like we've been not responding to you.
Acknowledge, yes. Good evening. My name's Jack O'Leary with Green Seal Environmental, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Thanks for hearing us tonight. I did want to jump in on that very issue, is that we acknowledge that during our DEP site walk of earlier in the summer, that because DEP was raising some questions, that we would wait until those things were resolved. But DEP has been taking longer than expected, and we are making a lot of progress with them. And what we're up against is the close of the construction season, and we were hoping that we could now ask for you to approve the amended order. We've made the necessary notifications, and you've placed the ad. So we'd like to move that process to a conclusion tonight, if possible. And I'd be happy to describe the plans from the beginning, if that makes sense.
No, I don't, well, I mean, yeah, because we're reopening the hearing. So just give us a brief summary, and then what we're really discussing is the culvert change and the replication area tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and just for logistics, I'm aiming this at the camera. Is the camera on?
Yeah.
This guy.
That camera, okay, because I don't want to exclude the audience members, but how would the commission prefer, should I keep?
Not running for election, are you?
No, well, maybe someday.
You can all see it like this.
Yeah.
This is the better view.
See it,
You
Jack?
you good? Okay. And if audience members want to see it, I can flip it around later. But this site is on Horton Street on the north side. And this site had a previous filing done by another firm for a wetland crossing, a limited project. The way the site is configured is it's roughly a square, and there's an area of upland on the left side of the frontage, an area upland on the right side, a cart path that leads back, and a large area of upland in the back. The wetland is crossed by a stream that branches out to the west over here and then flows to the right. And the commission had issued a order of conditions permitting the proposed wetland crossing with an open bottom box culvert meeting the stream crossing standards and retaining walls and that sort of thing to minimize the fill. The replication for that crossing was originally on the northeast corner, kind of. Right over here. Subsequent to that, that order, some work was started, and then Lisa was hired and pointed out correctly that there was a provision in the order to get some other permits. So the work was stopped, and the other permits were applied for. They were with the DEP, the Army Corps of Engineers, and most recently the Chapter 91 permit. And so we, as you recall, some of you recall, we had a discussion about that, and then what happened is the contractor found an existing culvert that was very similar to the culvert proposed as far as the degree of span and the height. And since it's already manufactured, we thought it would make a lot of sense to substitute that instead of making a new one. And so we came in initially with an amendment to permit that repurposed culvert. And we provided documentation at the time. Subsequent to that, during some discussions that Lisa and I had after a site walk and a discussion with the property owner, we were requested to add the proposed house to the plan because that wasn't on the original order. Even though most of the house itself is outside the buffer zone pretty much, some of the grading is in the buffer zone. So we show that on the plan. And then after some thinking about the replication area as originally proposed, which is in a wooded area, the owner said, this doesn't make a lot of sense to cut a lot of trees, we have an option. And so the option we looked at was that upland area out front. So originally proposed was 12,410 square feet of upland, which was just barely more than the proposed fill for the wetland crossing. This replication area has about 15,000 square feet, so we're increasing the ratio since we have some elbow room. This area was a cleared field that's starting to grow in really thick. but it was delineated, and the delineation was approved by this commission prior to that wetland crossing being designed. So fast forward to today, we had the site walk with DEP. We've got a Chapter 91 request in. We've reviewed that with the DEP. We're getting a verbal that it's going to be negative, so that's pretty much goes away. We are working with the DEP on a 4-1 water quality certification, and there's been a lot of back and forth. No changes coming out of it. They are basically looking for us to back up the various analyses we've done. And the Army Corps of Engineers has already given us their 4 items to do before it gets approved. So we're almost ready to go, assuming we get those approvals quickly. And so that's why we're requesting you to similarly make a decision to approve this tonight.
Skip back to the culvert.
The culvert, yes.
Show me the difference between the one you just want to put in there and the one that we approved.
The one that you approved was perfectly square. The one we found is at a skew. So it's very similar in dimensions overall. I can show you the details.
How similar?
I'm sorry?
Like how similar?
How similar?
No,
You have a detail in your packet.
I don't have it.
That was,
So if you look at this one in your packet.
they all have a copy.
I don't have one.
You gave him a copy too.
Yes, I did.
Look at that.
That I
You
didn't.
have mine, you have one.
No, I don't.
Yes, you did. You got it.
No.
You have the copy in the back of the packet I gave you.
That's,
It's one that says
on top. No, I
Mr.
don't
Chairman,
have-
I'm prepared to give you a description so you don't have to look it up.
He can show you right now.
I did pull out the old plan. The original culvert was 24 feet wide and 3 foot 6 inches high to the stream bottom. And the proposed culvert is 22 inches square, because it's at a cant. And I put in the raw dimension, 3 foot 2 inches high. So it's very similar. Both of them met the Massachusetts stream crossing standards for dimensions, so we thought it was an appropriate substitution. 22 feet, thank you.
Yeah, can you just go through, so, what I asked Jack to do was to explain to us how this new culvert meets this Massachusetts stream crossing standards. And he gave us a summary, which you all have in your packet.
Yeah.
Grab my copy of that, Lisa.
It is the bill.
You also had a couple of test pits out there?
Yeah, not really related to this. This site has a history. The 2 areas out front had been pretty thoroughly evaluated by a previous owner for development and found to be wanting. But on the soil side, we heard from several sources that they had failed, but the Board of Health couldn't find a record for it. So the DEP insisted on an actual soil evaluation and perk test in those areas, and we did them last Thursday.
As part of the alternatives analysis.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been, they have been thoroughly beaten to death as far as being evaluated, and there's no houses going there, so. But my client doesn't want to put one there either, so it's kind of moot, so,
Yeah, I have one now. I have one now.
okay.
That's all I need.
You
That's
have
all
it. I
need.
thought you had a
That's
question.
all.
so,
The only
okay.
question I had was,
Okay. Well, Lisa, I'll go through the list then.
Sure.
The Mass Stream Crossing Standards have a number of criteria that if you meet them, you're presumed to not have an impact on the stream. And one is type of crossing. They encourage an open bottom type box culvert that results in minimum disturbance, though they do allow pipes if you bury it. This is an open bottom box culvert, so we meet criteria number 1. Embedment, that mainly applies to the pipe culverts, but we are proposing to embed the footings, which are at the outer edge of this culvert, 2 feet below the ground. I think that's mainly to make sure that it is not undermined by any scour. Number 3 is the crossing span. they're looking for a span ratio, and it needs to be it's essentially the length versus the width. It needs to be greater than 1.2, and ours is 1.31 with the new culvert. Openness is essentially the amount of space you get when you have a culvert built, the overall dimensions divided by the channel width. That needs to be a minimum of 0.82. We're providing 2.23. The substrate, they encourage the natural substrate to remain or something be created that's similar to natural, and this is being dropped over it so the natural subgrade will remain effectively undisturbed. Water depth and velocity, those factors need to be matched since we're really not changing the channel at all. That's going to be maintained as well. And then in the Wetlands Protection Act regulations, there's a requirement that the underside of the box culvert be higher than the bank of the river. I think for obvious reasons, you don't want the water to, when the river rises, fill up and back up. So, and we clearly meet that by, we have about 1 3/4 feet. So we have pretty good height. And it does mention encouraging wildlife passage, and with the height of this, almost every animal you can think of can go through, no problem. And so I think I'm sure we've definitely met the intent of the stream crossing standards and also the written standards. So.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on that?
Oh,
Charlie, Bill?
all set.
So, I do have a question. You know, when the fill was placed in there to cross it, right? So there's already some disturbance. So there's gonna have to be someone like yourself there when they go to put the culvert in to make sure that's all, the bank is all
Maintained and
protected,
restored, yeah, definitely, yeah. That's a critical phase in the project, and someone will be there to monitor that every day, I would think. I think it's only gonna take a couple of days, so.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so what we have then is the changing in the culvert box.
Yep.
The changing of the location of the replication area. Lisa, was there another item that was changed?
The replication area, so you've changed it to 15,000 square feet, and you're saying to move it to the front. Have you changed the quantity of plantings that are gonna go in there?
Yes, they've been increased proportionally,
Okay,
so yeah.
so can we just talk about that a little bit and the location?
Sure. We have a pretty detailed, I'll have to grab this, sorry, folks. Written replication plan on the third sheet. Since the previous plan had been approved, we would follow that to a great extent with one major addition. The previous plantings included a red maple for the overstory, sweet pepper bush and high bush blueberry shrubs, and that was it. We noticed there wasn't a herbaceous layer proposed, and that didn't make a lot of sense to us, so we added some areas of herbaceous plant plugs, we check with someone more knowledgeable than myself is for the species, but I think I can describe them reasonably well. There's a few sedges, goldenrod, and we did note that some New England wet mix needs to be placed in some disturbed areas. And these also apply, by the way, I don't want to forget a couple things. There's some disturbed areas that you noted on the side of the proposed road that went beyond where the road was going to go. And the other thing I want to mention too is that because of the shape of the culvert, the previous approval there was no alteration of bank listed, but because the culvert's at a skew, we couldn't avoid altering a little bit of bank, and we altered 12 linear feet of bank on this one. So I want to make sure that's in the record. And that's the way, kind of a restriction we can't avoid with that repurposed culvert, otherwise we would. But it's, the culvert still works as well as the other one, otherwise.
Jack, the upland area that is along either side of the driveway at the front,
Yes.
so like that first upland area, not the one to the west, what is the square footage of that upland area as opposed to the other one? Because I looked at some of that perk data.
Okay, I
And
know it's less than 30,000 square feet. I do, and go 28,500 square feet.
Oh, wow. So you could put the replication there.
We would really hem in the driveway. I don't think it really is that practical there. Just from looking at the field is just such a logical candidate. It's you know, it's fairly easy to access, and it's in a place where it's not going to be bothered ever again once it's replicated.
I know, my concern is that that's already, you know, I mean, I know I don't want to disturb the large trees, but then in this case, it's like you've already got a little meadow going on there.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Is there any other area?
the other thing about that area is that we don't have to disturb any large trees there. Every other area we'd be cutting down big trees. And some of the trees on the side of the driveway are right on our abutter's property line. I mean, his line is quite close to where.
Yeah.
Is that area where they did the soil evaluation?
That's one of them, yes, yeah.
Because that was like redox down to 24 inches and 26 inches.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, we.
The soils were a silt loam and even clay on one.
In the area of replication, the proposed area of replication?
Yeah, we've got a pretty shallow water
It's
table. And
saturated over there, right?
yeah, it was.
Front part, at least, would be the best to do it.
Well, that's where he's talking about, that the perks, it didn't perk because it's marginally wet already, so
Yeah.
do we allow a replication area in a marginally wet area or require it in a already upland area?
Well, just to step back, the saturated line was down, it wasn't at 24 inches, that was the estimated high groundwater seasonal.
Okay.
And the saturated depth was deeper than that, by a decent amount. So but it is what it is.
So it's not your opinion that we'd be creating a wetland in a wetland?
Well, it's not my opinion that governs. The wetland line was prepared by a wetland professional, and it was approved by this commission through, I think that was an NRAD. I mean, I've looked at it with both an auger. I mean, I don't delineate anywhere near as often as you do, so but I've looked at it with an auger initially, and then we did test pits, and I wouldn't call those areas, upland areas, hydric soils based on the soils alone. But it is like a lot of soils in the area. It's tight.
Yeah, Woodbridge.
Yeah, and it's no surprise that there's wetlands.
Perched water from the rocks.
Yep. I mean, if you go out, and I don't recommend going out there because that's one of the worst site walks I ever did because the vegetation is about this high. Every tick in the South Shore has moved there.
Now there's West Nile.
Yeah, that was, I'm mainly afraid of that. But I did make it out there, and there's a very distinct, terrain feature where it goes right down to the wetland, and that's right where, in some places where the farmer had put the stone wall, so that makes sense.
Do you agree with the wetland delineation?
I looked at it and I thought it was fine. That's where I would have guessed it was done. I think that was done by, was that done by Ken or Chris Capone?
I can look back.
Because it's
Spotty, huh? Like upland here, upland there, upland in the back.
Yeah, we really, at this point, we can't be. Let us say on flags and trade. But I believe that both of those wetland scientists have delineated this at times. And I mean, I know Chris, I know he's pretty reputable. And Ken's report on the site was very, very good.
This one shows the whole thing as wetlands, so that's not it.
I've seen a number of, and it shows the stream and nowhere near where it actually is too, so.
When was it delineated?
Part of it was delineated in, I'm sorry, 2019, and the other part was done in 2018. So they're both current.
You have a question, Jeff? Did you have a question?
No. Charlie, you have any questions for him?
Yeah, I just want to find this before we finish up.
Well, let me just see if the, anybody in attendance have questions for this gentleman on the lot on Horton Street?
No. No, it's only disturbance.
Yeah, that's the only reason I brought it up, because I look at the redox of 24 and 22, the soils itself. I guess that was the one of them said, one of the field notes said, field along west end of frontage, pit outside the wetland buffer zone and along the front property line. And then the other one was upland area on east end of frontage, pit and area of gravel driveway.
The first one was right there. There's only a tiny area available for this Title V system, and the other one is over there.
Lisa, there's something
Okay, so
here.
Brandon Fana. Hold on one second. This one's Steve. What's the question?
No.
The original plan was not any different. It says the
What?
flags for that area on
It
the
does,
south
so we
side
can
of
approve
the
it,
house.
and,
Done by Site
and
Inc.
if they order it differently, they order it differently. Okay.
I think he is currently the Westport Conservation Agent.
There was a fair who did some wetland work as well.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
I worked with SciTech and for them, and I've worked with Chris, and I've never seen his lines disputed, so.
Okay. Lisa, so if we condition this, we can condition it based upon approval by DEP if they make other alterations.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one question I have for you guys. Are you confident that you're confident enough that you're gonna get your DEP approval that you would want us to close and not hold off until then, so that we don't have to amend it again?
Well, if DEP does something,
I think we're confident. And we'd ask that you close, make a decision on the amendment. That it's unlikely that we'd be back based on a decision from the state.
okay. Let's see, we need.
I'm gonna see if anyone in the audience has
I
any
just
questions.
did.
Okay, I wasn't paying attention, I guess. Sorry. Oh, that's,
Okay, is there a motion to close the hearing and issue an amended order of conditions, more specifically, the culvert change and replication area change? I'll let you think about that, how you're gonna word it, somebody.
That's fine.
yeah, Brandon Fana called the whole thing wetland at the front, too. That was in 17.
The way I do it in Foxborough, I'm a vice chair in Foxborough Commission. We would refer to the plan, essentially. Your amendment, your vote on the amendment would refer to the plan
Yeah.
and the narrative that went with the plan.
Okay, do I have a motion to close the hearing and issue an amended order of condition based upon their new plan?
I do see a discrepancy between page 3. You have listed still 11,000 square feet of replication. Page 3, your plan still has reference 11,000.
That's a scrivener's error.
Yeah.
We'll make sure the plan governs. Thank you.
Okay, so the site plan is dated
Yeah,
3,
it's in a note.
Can you just read the site plan or bring it up so he can read it?
Please.
Thank you.
You don't have your little ruler with you, do you?
Yeah, the field going west on Horton Street, just after you go by the cart path, there's quite an area to the right. I mean, it's grown up now, bushes and stuff, but
Well, that's what they're.
it was open all the way on the right for ways up.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about putting in the replication.
Yeah, well, I mean,
He's saying he doesn't remember, that's why.
he says he doesn't remember the field, Lisa, but I mean,
It's more there's some trees in there.
yeah, but
We
they're
didn't-
not
We
big.
didn't walk it on the site visit, we should
Yeah,
have.
yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it's an open,
Okay,
He wanted to replicate where the field was, I just didn't know where. I
Yeah.
couldn't see a field there.
well, it's overgrowing now.
yeah.
Okay, is there a motion to close the hearing and issue an amended order of conditions based upon the site plan?
I make a motion, we
And-
issue an amended order of conditions for TLC. TLC.
Depending on them, with the stipulation that they get their permits.
Yeah,
Okay, with stipulations that they get there.
Stipulation that on their approval.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
So no work can be done until we've issued this 21-day appeal period, and then you've got your other permit.
Right. May I say something on the project?
Well, maybe not. I'm just. Oh, he can speak.
Moving forward, we're going to submit a request, with all due respect to Lisa, but to remove her from the project. She's shown some bias towards this project. It seems like there's been,
Anytime you cross a wetland, Lisa's gonna show bias.
well, that's fine, but she's been on the record saying that she's not a fan of this project, and she doesn't like this project, and, I understand her position, and that's fine, but she's a town official. She has to abide by the rules, just like we do. So
She is abiding by it.
Yeah, I think she's following, well, she's consistent from when I talked to her, so.
So consistency's fine, but, the plan that was in front of you guys this evening has been in front of the Lisa and the commission for 5 months. And at 12 o'clock today, we get an email asking us to clarify things.
It
That
wasn't
to
to
us.
clarify anything, it was just to show
Lisa,
the board.
Why wasn't that
Lisa, you
question?
don't have to explain anything.
Okay.
Why wasn't that?
All
Well,
right.
I'm
All
gonna
right,
put a
you made your
I'm
position.
gonna be putting a formal request in to have Lisa removed from our project. I don't,
That's fine.
It's not out of disrespect for you guys, it's just I feel that she's been very biased to us. We've done everything we've had to do to try and move this project forward. You guys have been very helpful. However, it's just, I don't feel that.
Now, she has the same guidelines that you will have, and I would never consider removing her from that project.
Okay.
If you ever look back at the meeting, you'll always hear the same sentences for recreation areas, her concerns. I've always felt that her concerns are always consistent. Your project has some issues, and she's just addressing them. So, you're moving along, I see, and you're getting there.
Yep.
It's just that I think she's just doing her job very, very
the state is holding you up now, not this commission, and certainly not Lisa.
It's not the commission. I don't blame the commission at all. You guys have been wonderful. I do find she has bias towards the project. It's on the record of her saying she's not a fan of the project. Unfortunately, she doesn't have the right to express that concern.
You do whatever you're comfortable with.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, have a great night.
All right. Okay, we have commission updates. County Street Enforcement Order, Lisa?
Oh, so there is another agenda item that wasn't on the agenda. There's a gentleman here, and I was hoping he could speak briefly. He added some fencing for some farm animals, and I was contacted through a complaint. I followed up, I met him at the site.
And what's his name? Okay, your name, please?
Joseph Kozeski?
Okay, I move that we, if I can, make that motion to accept out of order Joseph
Kozeski.
to come to give us an update on the complaint that Lisa received.
If I could though, just to clarify, Mr. Chair, since it's not on the agenda, I don't think there should be any discussion, the deliberations at the end and formal votes.
Yeah, that doesn't
It's
need
just
to
more
be.
of a discussion.
Yeah. I wanted him to come and explain to the commission what he
As long as
did.
there's no formal votes, I think we'd be all right.
Oh, you mean for Joe?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so, I mean, I don't, we need a formal vote to take him out of order?
Yes.
No, I'm saying if there was, after the discussion, if the board did some kind of action with it.
Oh, I see.
So, yeah, I don't think you could do that because
Okay,
it's
no.
not on the agenda, but he's free to speak, I would say.
Yes.
Okay, Jim, you want to make a motion to take him out of order?
I make a motion to get this out of order on the agenda.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, Joe, you're on. Okay.
I am currently in the process. Joe Pozeski. I am currently in the process of building a house at what is going to be 1743 William Street. Possibly 1743.
What's the number again?
1743 William Street.
Tell us where that is.
Directly across from Daffodils, in between.
Okay, we know where you are.
What you're talking about.
The very large house behind the very small house.
It's only large because the house in front is small.
Yeah. Just makes it a little.
Go ahead, Joe. Tell us what's going on.
I was just preparing a section of land back there to put T-posts in with goat sheep fence and have an area for goats and chickens. And I was contacted by Lisa that I might be in an area I'm not supposed to be in.
Okay,
So
so
I-
somebody complained then, and
Yep.
so she did her job and followed up.
Yeah, I stopped what I was doing until I could meet her down at the property. I want to say like a week and a half later. I thought I was close on one side. Turned out I was 66 feet away on the opposite side.
This was just a fence, you weren't building anything?
Nope, and the goat house is built on 4x6 skids, so it's not permanent or anything like that. And on the opposite side of where the closest portion is, closest I am to a wetlands marker is 66 feet. No vegetation was disturbed past that 66-foot mark in that one corner.
Lisa-
The other corner is 147 feet from the wetlands marker.
Okay, Lisa, you were there, you have any problems with it, or think you should make any adjustments?
No,
Just-
no, he's outside of the 50-foot.
Okay, so.
So, I explained to him that he can't go any further. If he wants to, create a cart path or anything on his property, then he needs to come before Concom, but just to come in and, for the record,
Yeah, I don't plan on doing anything more than the
Okay.
path that's there, keeping it trimmed so I can walk down it. There's an old logging road that I don't know how long it's been there, but it's been there as long as maps show. But other
Okay.
than keeping that little 4 foot, 4.5 foot, 5 foot
You
path
can, you
that's
can
there.
keep 3 foot in the wet, in the wetland, that's an exemption.
Yeah, I'm not
Anything
gonna
bigger
do
than that,
anything
you
more
really-
than what's there.
Yeah.
I have no plans to, tear down the
Okay.
wetlands or.
Okay, I guess we're all set, right, Lisa? All right, if anyone has any questions,
Thank you for clarifying.
have a nice day.
That works, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, excuse me, point of order, do you have a fence permit?
No, but I did contact animal control before.
No, fence permit you have to apply for from the building commissioner, so if you haven't got that yet, don't put your fence up.
I didn't get that, but before I did anything, I actually I contacted like every department in this town before I started doing anything in the building
So my
department.
question is, did you get a permit from the building
I
commissioner?
wasn't told that I needed one.
Well, you know it now.
Okay,
I think, if it's a certain height, I don't know, but yeah, you need to call the building department.
If somebody has complained about what you're doing, absolutely contact the building commissioner.
And get clearance.
He'll tell you if it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess somebody's watching what you're doing, so.
Sure.
Yeah, but, for us, sounds like you're out of the wetland, so thank you.
Alrighty.
Okay,
Thank you.
have a good one.
Good luck.
Welcome to Dayton.
County Street, Lisa?
Okay, yeah, so. I have 2 different agendas. I have. Sorry, which address county are we on?
2371.
That's out of order, or? My agenda shows the next item is William Street.
I got County Street Enforcement Order.
Okay, yeah, just read them off to me as we go then.
2371 County Street.
Okay, 2371 County Street. They were supposed to be in attendance and they are not. The attorney could not make it. However, he sent a letter. I'll read it for the record. My clients have informed me that they are working with G. Lopes concerning filling the area with clean fill. They are waiting for an estimate on what it could cost to fill the remainder of the land with clean fill. Once they get that estimate, we will provide you and the Stormwater Committee with not only the estimate, but whatever plans there are for the filling, and work with the Conservation Commission towards properly filling the area. Further, they have told me that they have not yet begun the removal process, as the contractor they have retained has not had time to get to the property. Again, this month, I am not available Thursday night to attend the meeting because the matter that prevented me from attending last month, and which, like your meetings, is scheduled for the 3rd Thursday of the month, was continued until this month for further hearing. So I need to attend that this Thursday. Should my clients be there tomorrow evening? And my response was, yes, could you please send them, but they couldn't attend.
But they're moving forward and,
Well, to some degree, yeah, they're moving forward with something. Bill, you could give them a little bit of a, I know we were at the Stormwater Committee meeting yesterday, and there was discussion about what they are doing. And I know I read it at the last meeting as well, that they hired a company to at least remove the top fill with the Bobcat. However,
that's not gonna be sufficient.
I don't,
I
yeah,
thought on the last time I went to this meeting, they were there, didn't we, ask them to do, delineate, what was it that we asked them to do?
well, we did ask them for delineation. We asked them to come up with a restoration plan, but their intent is not to restore it, they want to fill it.
Yeah.
We don't have, obviously, to be frank,
Well,
it's
they have to
not-
come before us, and that would be a denial.
So,
Because at
Here-
that meeting, they came to us, and then they said they were gonna go to Stormwater right after us.
so there was also discussion at the Stormwater meeting about coming up with a timeline for them, because it can't be open-ended, so I think we should give them a time period. We would like to see this done, we would like to see
A plan for restoration or whatever.
we want to give them so many months to come up with the plan. I mean, I know engineers are busy.
They don't need months. I don't think they,
Engineers
maybe,
are busy, but this time of year isn't as busy, so maybe give them 45, 60 days to come before us with a restoration plan?
well, if we say 45, that actually gives them 2 months. And that time in between is for us to review their plan, because 45 days by the time it gets mailed out, and so 45 days would take us to the end of October, and then if they have a plan for us, then we have some time to review the plan before our November meeting.
A plan for what, Jim?
Restoration.
Okay. Make sure you say that.
It's a pretty large area, it's a pretty
But
big restoration
that's gonna be the key
project.
word, restoration, not just removing 2 trees off the top and 2 boards or whatever it is.
Yeah, so I can return an email to the attorney, and whatever you guys vote on or decide, you all agree
Yeah, restoration,
Yeah.
yes,
within how many days?
45. Or maybe we should actually set a date and say by October 30th or,
Okay.
That's not 45 days.
well, it's close. Yeah, sure it is.
We got a calendar.
Today's the 16th? Oh, that's close.
I can count
take a
45
look.
days if you
It's
want.
okay.
Okay, Lisa, let's go on to the next one.
Do you need a
David?
motion for that?
October 31st?
Nancy wants to talk.
May I address the commission as the stormwater chairman, please?
Yes, you may, ma'am.
So what happened when we did the sidewalk down there, and you were there?
Yep.
We saw all the debris and stuff that's been dumped in the railroad bed. And that's what's impeding the flow of water. They came back to us with a 3-step program. And the Stormwater Committee said, do the first 2, which was they were gonna get a bobcat down there and remove the initial debris, junk, building materials, carpet, whatever, get that out of there. And they were planning to smooth this out. I specifically asked, if I were this party, what would I have to do? And what Jim Aguirre said was get an engineer to draw what it is you're planning to do. Because again, the water that's impeded is in the railroad bed. So there's a question also about how far down they're gonna have to go. They were told, the 3rd step was, after they cleaned it up, to fill it. Well, we told them, don't fill it, because we don't, other than cleaning out some of the stuff, we need to know the plan. So at our meeting yesterday, when Mrs. Caldoni was there, and what we asked was, since she was coming here tonight, the Stormwater Committee would like you to set a deadline. We don't want to give them a deadline, and you give them a deadline, and we have too many deadlines. So we figure, you give them a deadline and say, you want the first 2 steps and the plan presented. And after that comes in, and the plan gets approved, then they can determine, or you can determine, we will determine, I guess, together, based on what you guys do, about restoring it, or filling it, or whatever it's going to be. But the main thing is, we don't want it to go too long, because in the letter that she read, the first party that is supposed to do the cleanup hasn't gotten to it. Well, what does that mean? You may never get to it. And what we said was, since the 3rd party is the Lopes Company, if the first party can't get there, why not hire one contractor to do the whole thing? At least do steps 1 and 2 and get the plan done. And then that same contractor can do the filling. So that's how we left it. And so that's what the Stormwater Committee is looking for.
But the filling is the problem, not, because they filled it with junk, debris, construction, so that is the problem, the filling. So once they remove the fill, we don't want them to refill with
No,
other
that's why
material.
it's in steps. And I think you have that letter from Mr. Mitchell with the steps on it, because it was given out at, not this one, the previous stormwater meeting. And that's exactly what we said. And I don't want to mention names. The party that's supposed to do the initial cleanup and get the dumpster in there, that step one is get the stuff, step two is get a dumpster in. Remove the I'll call it the foreign matter that doesn't belong there. No, we agree. We don't want that filled until there's a plan. And that's where the other party that was mentioned, the Lopes companies, would be doing that. But we said, don't do 3. Put that on hold. But our concern at the Stormwater Committee is, the next meeting's in October. The person who's supposed to do steps 1 and 2 hasn't gotten to it. Well, suppose he doesn't get to it till November or December. Now we're into the winter and snow and everything else. So if you would set a time period and say, you want something, that's what we figured, that will push this issue as far as getting something done.
You're gonna need 20 dumpsters to take out what's there.
Whatever, whatever it takes. But anyhow, that's where the Stormwater Committee left it, and that's why I came tonight, because we're waiting for you to make a decision.
I think we just did.
I think we just did.
Yeah.
But you guys are looking for the same thing, a restoration plan as well.
Exactly, and we all wanted to be on the same page and not giving them a timeline, and that just confuses the matter, so.
Okay, but restoration plan, then the plan is approved, then we give them a timeline for doing what they say they're gonna do.
By October 31st, we'd like to see a restoration
A
plan.
restoration plan. There's only 30 days in October, I believe.
No, it's 31.
What about Halloween?
Oh.
Scrooge. I'm sorry, you're not.
Thank you, Mrs. Goulart.
Thank you.
Okay, County Street.
Okay, all right. So that was county. Okay, so now there's DeRosa, County Street. So I received a call from a wetland scientist saying she delineated the site and I'd be receiving a plan. However, I have not received a plan yet. But she was saying that she didn't think that he was within the regulated area. So we'll wait until we see the plan. We haven't seen one.
Okay. Hot Street?
So I was actually there today after the rain. I took a bunch of photos, and there's a lot of stabilization in the front yard. The barriers are still up. There's a lot of silt against much of the barrier.
Excuse myself and go out front as an abutter.
The backyard is still a lot of exposed dirt. I took photos up and down the street too. It looks like there's a fair bit of problems right now on the side of Hart Street with, especially at Mr. Duart's front of his driveway. It's, the water has gotten in the cracks and it's causing more, the road's gonna need some repair. I also saw that there's, I don't know why, but there was a berm placed and some dirt along the intermittent stream. And I don't know if that was the highway department. So, as far as the RDA, what we're waiting for from Mr. Duart is you have the paperwork for the RDA to finalize the project, because he still has exposed, which we requested, because he still has, hasn't completed things. However, I think what he's waiting for is the final inspection of the septic system, so he can just do the.
That gotta come a lot sooner. It doesn't take 3 months or 5 months for an inspection. And you call and he's there the next day, or that day.
Right, so.
What's the final one, the grading?
So he hasn't submitted an as-built for that. I don't know where the as-bilt's at.
When's the last time you talked to him?
I talked to him today because I told him I was gonna be there. But I talked to him today, because I told him I was gonna be on his property. And the last time we talked about the RDA was, let's see,
I don't understand the RDA thing.
September 2nd. The RDA was for the final grading and the final landscaping of the yard, because his order had expired, so he was working without a valid permit, and it was never recorded.
Okay, so if he files an RDA, which is a request to determine applicability,
Right, just
you
to,
can file an RDA if you don't have a, I don't understand how you can file an RDA.
well, we were gonna.
Can you explain to me how legally you can do that? You know, he doesn't need an order of conditions, you file an RDA and you can say, you can determine that he's fine. The last rainstorm, did you take pictures? I sent you pictures. The vernal pool was full of silt. This was the last storm we had, what was it, 3 weeks ago?
Well, what was it, the
In August.
RDA and an as-built, right?
Yeah, as-built, so that we
The
could.
idea was to get him on official
Yeah,
record of what, and then to
we were gonna
condition
condition
the RDA.
Yeah,
Um,
you have to finish the work, get an as-built,
You
and
know-
go from there.
You know, if we go up behind his house, that's as much as, I don't know what department you'd call it, the sand and gravel board, or, I mean, that's 500 feet away. I know it flows down and it becomes eventually a wetland problem, but when it's still up there,
Yeah.
it is a sand and gravel.
It's out of our jurisdiction. I mean, we regulate lands within 100 feet and within 200 feet of a river or stream. So the reason he came before us to begin with is because that stream was deemed an intermittent stream. So anything 100 feet off is jurisdiction. There
And-
is silt. I know there is silt across the street and down, sometimes
No,
down.
I've seen it.
Yeah, but pinpointing exactly where it's coming from is almost impossible.
It comes through multiple areas through those tall grasses.
Excuse me, Jim. There's only one construction site going on up there. There's only one site that's being worked on, and there's only one site where dirt is being moved. Come on.
But it just.
Where else could it be coming
I mean,
from?
I've been up there and I'm baffled by it. And I want to say what you're saying is, yes, I probably have a 95% thought, yeah, that's where it's coming from.
That's the only place
Can a
it
little
could be
bit be
coming
coming from somewhere else? Yes.
Is everybody's driveway finished on that road? I know the road is like this.
Kevin,
And yet,
I was just asking if everyone's driveway on that road is finished.
Charlie, along the side of the roadway, is you got your trench.
Yeah, you mean the wetland.
Well, is it?
It's been designated a wetland.
I know, it's been designated a wetland. But is it, when you really think about it,
Not in my estimation, but
it's
it's
a
a wetland,
It's a drainage trench.
yes. But when the
It's been
proposal was
designated.
for a 40B project on that property, it was determined that it was a wetland.
Yeah. Lisa, so you're waiting to hear from him on,
Well, I mean, instead of us continuing to wait, we could try to put a little more pressure on him.
I think that's necessary.
Ben wants. I mean,
Yeah, because he assured us he was gonna finish the stuff, so maybe we can get that as-built and
yeah.
finish this.
You know, and has to get that land stabilized in the back. Cover that gravel, seed it.
But like you said, that's 500, that's hundreds of feet away from our regular.
All right, then, yeah, but everything else is stabilized, you said?
Yes
The
and
front?
no, so, you know, if you walk the siltation barriers, there's literally, there's grass, there's weeds, you know, everything's coming in. But against all the barriers on the south side and the west side, there is silt. You know, because of all the rain we've gotten, it's
Yeah.
being pushed back. If someone removed those siltation controls right now, we'd have a real problem.
Yeah, it was 6¼
We've had a
inches
real
of rain.
problem for 8 years.
Well, this year's been hot. This year's been terrible for the rain.
6¼ inches
It's just-
that
it's just-
last big rainstorm in September.
It's like one after the other, just.
We had a third of an inch last night.
They're gonna continue to get more intense, is what we hear from NOAA too. More frequent and more intense.
Do you think we could do something, just in case we get another big rainstorm? Do you think we could do something about protecting the vernal pool and my wetlands? We're in hurricane season. We could get another 5 inches tomorrow.
You said all those barriers are up though, right?
All those barriers.
Everything's intact.
Yeah, I mean, that I can see without, you know, getting on my hands and knees.
Then what we have to do is push him to seed, to
I mean,
loam and seed.
You know,
And-
alls I
and-
can think of is some of the dirt that was already there before he put those in the spring is still running off from the property.
My neighbor just put some seed in just
Seed.
the other day, and it looks like, and it's flat land, it looks like it's run off.
He's also put down that netting in the front. I mean, it works. It holds,
The netting works good.
yeah.
Why,
It didn't last week.
what's the holdup
It
on
filled the
this?
vernal pool last week.
I'm sorry.
And it filled my,
Maybe he-
it added more silt to my wetlands. It's been doing it for 8 years.
I don't think he's
Somehow we
requested an
ought to be able to
inspection.
get this taken care of.
I don't think he's requested an
I don't think an
inspection.
RDA is gonna do it. That boggles my mind.
Yeah, typically they don't go out for the inspection unless they get an as-built.
Right. I think he
So the
just hasn't
inspector,
got,
yeah, he's not gonna go out
if
there.
he got the as-built, he would have sent it to me by now, so.
The
Okay.
silt runs off.
Let's push him for the as-built and maybe putting that netting, now that's that, it goes right over the soil, the grass.
Oh, your
I,
picture.
you know, I've seen it. I'm just making sure that we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, and the
Okay, so you will
Want to
take,
give him a time frame and say, we'd like to see this, you know, we want to wrap this, want it complete. What do you want to say? November 1st? Want to see
Sounds
everything,
good.
everything sees,
I mean, this needs to be
Everything's
buttoned up
seeded.
before winter comes.
yeah, so November 15th, the end of the growing season, what is that, November 15th?
so actually, we want it even before, you know, let's even say somewhere in October. And then you know, ryegrass will still grow.
So,
You can seed right up until November.
Yeah. Yeah, I say by November 1, I mean, because if he doesn't do it by then, it's gonna be the same thing next spring, and
Yeah.
it's just gonna be,
No.
you know, whatever the winter brings us, you know, freeze and thaw, it's like, there's gotta be something done this season.
so seeding complete by 11/1, how about the as-built?
Can't hear you, Lisa, I'm sorry.
Seeding, the commission's discussing seeding, the commission's discussing what they're gonna do.
Okay. You know, even, yeah, okay, by that date, but certainly, it's preferred before then, to give it a little more time, a couple more weeks to germinate.
Okay. So we're looking for
So
the
if you say
seeding by
even
November.
October 15th, that gives him a month, that's considerable time.
Okay, 10/15. And then we'd like to see the as-built when? I mean, if he finishes grading and seeding, then the as-built should be done. As-built should be
Yeah.
done anyway.
Yeah.
It should be, yeah.
Yeah,
It just, what's over the top now? He has to,
okay. I'll get in touch with him tomorrow or Monday. Your list is different than my list, so. if you wanna-
Okay, you got 1050 William Street?
Okay.
I hope them hurricanes go right out to sea.
1050
Don't give us
Williams.
any rain.
The
Yeah.
Reed Brothers and Outback Engineering has submitted the restoration plan that, you know, we've reviewed with Greg Drake who is a landscape architect with Outback. Jim Digits and I went out there a couple weeks ago to take a look at the staked areas, and what we found was the polygonum, the invasive species, is pretty much taken over almost everything.
Oh, but it's so many honeybees.
So, you know, I spoke with Greg on the phone. I actually think the mitigation plan looks really good. He's broken it out into areas. He has good plantings. It's a good monitoring plan. Everything's staked. But, you know, I want them to file a notice of intent for that. So in order to do that, because they're also replacing the culvert with a larger culvert. So that could take time, that whole process. In the meantime, that polygonum is taking over. So what I had mentioned was, now that it's about to drop the seeds, if it hasn't already, that if the commission might want to allow the cutting of the polygonum with Outback Engineering there as well to oversee it, or the landscape architect there, to just cut those so that it doesn't keep getting worse, because that whole entire site is just going to be taken over. So cut it and bag it.
Yeah.
But it needs to be a very aggressive thing to get rid of it. It's not going to be easy.
So you're going to send out a letter for that then, and
Yeah.
to take care of the, am I wrong in saying American bamboo? Or is that another name for it?
It's Japanese bamboo.
Japanese bamboo, okay.
Polygonum cuspidatum. So yeah, I think the bee's probably pretty much done with them anyway, right? But, okay, what's the next?
2396 Pleasant Street, Birdos.
Okay, yeah, I've been in contact with the Lighthouse Engineering, and we're working on them filing a notice of intent. The site's been flagged. I've also spoken with the biologist, and they are drafting a notice of intent as to how they met the performance standards or can't meet the performance standards, seeing how the addition is already there. The addition's 4 years old, 3 or 4 years old now. So that's where we're at with that. They are making progress, and
Yeah, right from the beginning, he was very good. Okay, Cedar Street, 1566.
So that one too, that's the same deal, but it's a different engineering firm. That one's Zenith Consulting, and Stephen Schmiel, the biologist, he and I and the owner met on site to just fine tune what we want to do out there as far as restoring. There's a fair bit of fill from the previous owner that this owner is willing to remove, fill or compost that has killed some large trees. So this owner has agreed to remove it, replace with vegetation, and because he wants to keep part of his driveway and part of his horse paddock area, which will be a permanent alteration, he's agreed to allow part of his cart path to revert and leave it alone. I've spoken with DEP, and we've got, I think Stephen, the biologist, and I have a good plan as to how they're gonna move forward, because there was a concern that they're over the 5,000 square feet of disturbance with temporary and permanent disturbances. Even though it's considered restoration, you still have to file an Army Corps permit, which would make it unattainable for him because it would be a really expensive process. So unfortunately, there's no easy process for people to be able to restore wetlands, except in this case, what we're going to do is the commission can regulate most of the work under a restoration plan without filing a notice of intent. And then any of the permanent alterations will have to come before the commission through an RDA. And
Okay,
that's
William
it.
Street, 1035.
Yep, I spoke with him today because I hadn't heard, and let's see here.
This is more across from Under the Sun.
Yep, so I get an update for tonight's meeting. He says, I'm waiting on the surveyor to come. Everything is marked as per our last site meeting. And we agree that that will work. I got the temporary silt fence to put it down. I have to do that. I gave the wood away, so he had cut some trees, mostly in the 25-foot and then side of his yard. So then I can just pull the stumps, which are between the 25 and 50-foot, and he's staying out of the other area. He's just gonna let it reestablish. He's willing to plant, however, so I told him he needs a plan in place because the garage is obviously in the 50-foot no build. And so, you know, this is another after the fact kind of deal where he's filing, even though he's already got his garage. We can try to give him a time frame too, because I feel like that one has
What's he
been dragged.
filing, an NOI or an RDA?
So, yeah, I mean, he has a current order,
Okay,
so he has to get that one closed out first.
okay, all right,
And that's why he needs to work with someone to do that.
okay.
The house is under an order of conditions. The garage isn't under anything.
Well,
So-
when did that date back to? When was that? I don't mean, you know, I'm just curious.
That's file number 0403, and it was issued. 8/9/2018.
So he has to finish it up to, for the 3 years, okay.
So, but, you know, the good news is Outback staked the 25-foot no touch. So now we know there's a clear boundary. However, the garage, like I said, is in the 50, but in the turnaround area for the driveway is, part of it's within the 25-foot, and some of it goes right up to the edge of the wetland, so we're gonna have to deal with that. And as far as the roof runoff, it's definitely changed from what it was when you guys approved it, so.
Okay.
Do you wanna give him a time frame or timeline
Well,
of?
timeframes are good for
Yeah.
everyone. It keeps it moving rather than
Yeah.
being forgetful.
You wanna see that he retains someone by like a certain date, or?
Well, I thought you said he had someone out back.
He has Outback. Outback did the original plan, and Outback staked the 25-foot. However,
Well, let
he
him
was
go
saying
back to
Outback must be swamped because they're not getting back. I mean, Outback has all those big projects, so maybe they just,
You know,
I don't know.
well, just, give him 30 days,
30
and to
days.
say that has to have a plan. It's, at least that'll put him contacting people in between in
Yeah.
that time frame.
Okay.
Okay, 0 Horton Street, complaint on grubbing.
Yeah, so that one, what's the Pavo site? Charlie, you wanna? Charlie, do you wanna talk about this one?
On 0 Horton Street.
Yep. It started off as a Pavo project. It's been to 3 other landowners, and now we're up to number 4.
Is that right across from Smith Street?
Mm-hmm. To the east, northeast, yeah.
Is it just the front lot we're dealing with exactly across
It's not exactly, it's
the
diagonal.
whole?
Yeah. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that was rejected because there wasn't enough room to build anything.
It was a perk problem.
So there was a perk problem. So what happened here is in June, or no, May, the new owner and his soil evaluator, his engineer, filed for a perk. And when that happened, the health agent asked me to review the location. And I said right away, any perk here is gonna need an ANRAD, so we need to all agree on where the wetlands are on this property. So that was June 1st. And since then, they've basically, I don't know what they've been doing, but now here we are in September, and they had the survey crew out there and the wetland scientist out there to relocate flags. But just on Monday, they cleared an area. And they're saying they're doing it within the enforcement order that Mr. Pavo had. They were gonna clear but they also grubbed it, which isn't a great thing. So,
How big an area did they grub, Lisa? Is this room?
yeah, maybe like a 1/4 of an acre at the most.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, there's probably only a 1/4 acre of non-wetlands there. Most of that is wetlands.
Yeah, so, what I saw when I was out there was the wetland scientist had missed an area, and then they had dropped a tree in another area, and I said, well, this wetland line needs to get extended, and it might need to go that way, so you need to pull that tree out. So they pulled that tree out, and they added additional erosion controls. What they're waiting for is the wetland line to be finished, and then I'm gonna go out there and measure from that to see between the setbacks that they need for the health department, they might not even have an area to perk there.
Okay.
But in that case, they're gonna wanna go to the back.
Okay, but now what they're gonna have to do is to have the wetland line approved before they do any more grubbing or cutting or anything like that.
Right.
Because then they'll tell us that, oh, there's an existing cart path there, and, no, I know.
Yeah. Yep.
I know, I've been up there many times or in the past.
I'm sure you have. And
Okay.
it looks like I have too by
Okay.
reading the paperwork from how many years ago? 17?
Okay, what's this, right of first refusal? What land is that? Who owns that land? Tremont?
Jimmy Cabral,
All in your packet.
Well, I got it here, but I don't have the,
Map 8, lot 27. It's the project that you permitted for the solar project. Dual-use solar project?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not
So
going to
it's-
do solar anymore.
No, that's not it at all. It's 15.4 acres. No, what he's doing is he's notifying the town that he's changing the use. So when you have it in chapter and you're changing the use, you have to offer it for first refusal. Like the
Okay.
lot that you guys discussed at the last
Okay.
meeting.
Okay.
So the commission just needs to make a recommendation to the town, whether it's something where the commission thinks it's worth purchasing, the town's.
That's that high area between Middle Street along,
On the corner.
yeah, on the corner.
Right on
There's a map. It's in your
Yeah.
packet.
Well, I know where it is. I mean, I
Oh,
only live a
I'm
mile
sure you
from
do.
the. Okay, I don't believe that we would be interested in that. That's all high and dry and nothing to do with wetlands.
That's right, that's correct.
Shall we say as a group that we are not interested
I don't know if you want to buy it and develop it. You could make some money, I'm sure.
You don't want to farm it?
We're in that business now? Just kidding. I'm not even sure, I've never been near that area, I don't remember that area.
It's just a great big open field. He's had it in corn for a number of years, and then
Near the
butternut.
near the transfer
and
station.
then he's
Hasn't grown anything this
squash,
year.
and he changes it once. But it's a high. There's not a piece of wetland anywhere on it that I could say and I walked it.
Well, there is
over there.
a wetland.
Yeah,
Way to the north
Way
side.
over on the back side.
South, west side. Okay, Nancy?
Tremont Street?
Is this in addition to where we've already permitted the solar farm on Middle Street?
This, I think, is the solar farm.
Yeah. Is it Mr. Cabral?
Yeah.
I permitted him on Tremont and the corner of Middle,
Yeah.
and then the Racine property next to it. So, since the Cabral property fronts both Tremont and Middle, this already should have come out of chapter.
So it's supposed to be what? Solar and farmed at the same time, if I'm not
We
mistaken.
got a letter July 21st from Delaney and
Okay, all right.
Muncie.
Oh, so I'll come over so Bill can hear. Next one, yeah.
That's the lot we walked.
This was permitted as a solar farm and also for agricultural use.
Yes.
So he's now saying just the solar farm and not agriculture? Is that, Lisa, is that?
No, it's dual I don't know about
Well,
that.
he's got to be changing it at least partially to commercial.
Yeah.
If he's going
But-
solar, it's got to be at least partially commercial.
What I'm saying to you is, I thought this was a done deal. The pilot agreements have been approved.
Yep.
Maybe because of the change to
All right.
agriculture and, I
Okay.
don't know.
We were told,
Approved by the planning board.
as agriculture,
Yes.
you got approved as agriculture and solar.
Yes.
So that's what went through the process, and,
Right.
and we have a pilot agreement, two of them, approved by the town. They contacted Stormwater recently and asked about an extension, and the extension they were looking for isn't something we would do. So is that why it's back to you? Do you know, have they come to you?
No, when it drops out of 61A, we get the rollback money.
No, this letter was dated
So
July
that-
21st,
Lisa,
and
let
the
me
commission
finish.
just hasn't acted on it.
I don't think he's changed his plan at all. He wants to do a solar farm and agricultural along with it. Well, I think what he wants to do, when I talked to him, he wants his solar panels up really high and he wants to graze animals underneath it.
So is,
That's how it was
is that what
approved.
that notification says?
Doesn't have anything to do with us, except I don't know if he's got, if the contractor.
Maybe it's just general, Nancy, maybe it's just general, if there's any change whatsoever in the zoning, and so the zoning would have to go from agriculture to agriculture and commercial.
Yeah.
All right, it says here that not all of the property is gonna be, changed. It says the balance of the land shall remain under the 61A classification. The total premises is 15.402 acres. I guess what is solar is coming out of the 61A, but the remainder of the property is staying in 61A.
Where the building is keeping that piece of property.
Right. So what your board and our board, and I thought your board, all acted on was where the solar panels are gonna go. We're not getting near his buildings or anything, so I don't understand. I haven't seen that letter. Other than the fact that everything got approved at town meeting.
Right.
And we were waiting to find out when they were gonna break ground, and last thing I knew, they asked for an extension. And it might have gone to the building commissioner for an extension. Because when everyone else signs off, the last sign-off is the building commissioner.
Right.
So,
But he doesn't need to come before us, there's no wetlands involved.
Well, they did come before us, and they have an open permit. You guys permitted it, right?
No, most of it did not come in. The wetlands are
saw-
over here. They just we did the wetlands.
Yeah.
But they're not in the wetlands.
Yeah,
No, there's nowhere
Right.
near the wetlands.
right, but there is a file in the Conservation Commission office.
Right, I think it was a
An RDA?
delineation.
Oh, in Anrad, okay.
And now, the only thing I can think of is that maybe he wants to sell off houses on the front side.
No, this is just a notice of intent to convert to another use. That's all this is, a letter from the attorney. The other use is the solar. It says it right here.
Okay.
You are hereby notified that James E. Cabral, trustee of JEC Nominee Trust, intends to convert a portion of his land on 906
We're not that wealthy.
to a solar-powered
If I
electricity
recall,
generating
when they
facility.
filed, the intent was to still farm the property.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's
says
that's what it is, it's all about that.
And and you read the other part, what did it say? Without me reading it off,
The 15 acres, yeah,
yeah.
15.042. Proposed area within map 8, lot 27 to be removed from 61A. 670,893 square feet to be removed. And the way I understand, the rest of the area is staying in 61A, the rest of the property.
Yeah, I don't think they could have their 61 on it when they have, like you said, a commercial use.
Well, do we just send them a letter saying that we are not interested in purchasing it?
Well, no, we just have to make a recommendation to the select board.
I think you need to check with Mr. Aguirre first. This almost sounds like the whole plan for the solar farm went through, but they didn't do the chapter 61 thing. I'm wondering if it's a formality for that 15-some, what you described. In other words, the whole thing got approved, and then it's like somebody said, by the way, did you go to the town and say, do you want to purchase this? Because you've got to get a right of refusal. And I'm wondering if that step was missed. And
Yeah.
I don't recall acting on the chapter land either, and it might have been just something that they missed. And now that they're looking for their permits, they need to take that land out of chapter so it can be
or their
taxed
attorney
at a
looked at
commercial
it
rate.
and said,
Planning board did, August 19th.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, recently. That's how I realized, because, yeah.
but the planning board acted on chapter 61A in July
No, August 19th, please be.
Of this year?
August 18th, yeah.
of this year.
Please be advised.
Which is after town meeting, which is after everything else has been approved. So it looks like it's after the fact, and
Yeah.
maybe they put the paperwork together and said, where's the chapter 61A thing? And that's why they're doing this.
Yep.
It's kind of a
After
after the fact thing.
So, we just move on?
July 21st is
We
the
just
letter
have to
from the
notify
lawyer.
the
Do you
Board of
wanna look
Selectmen
at
that
it?
we're not interested in
Yeah.
purchasing it.
Okay? We're not interested. Okay, will you do it in formal?
You wanna do
Oh,
that
Charlie,
one?
you're gonna do it in formal that we're not interested in purchasing? Okay. Next we have, okay, an invoice from Beta, $4,180 for, consultation and services. And this is for all their work on Strawberry Field.
Last invoice.
Okay, and I guess, was it Lisa, you made the, oh, no, Marty said that we should not do it out of the 53G, which of course we can understand that. Is there a motion to pay Beta $41.80?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Passes. Okay, everyone sign here? Charlie? Down here, okay.
Sign the bills as well.
Where is the bill? Okay, well,
That's what it looks like.
You can have that. I have
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
This
Okay,
maybe
Bill,
looks like
you-
this is, they were.
your sign now.
Realized they
I don't know if
hadn't
we
done
all have
this.
to sign it or not,
That's why
but
they asked about an
it just got
extension.
passed to me, Bill, so
But they've got the approval here.
Those come up for review every 10 years anyway. So it might just be a review or a re-signing, and he just wants to take that out.
No. I think what truly happened was, the whole process for the solar farm went through all the steps, got approved right through the pilot agreement. The attorney for the trust,
Found it.
land, started saying, where's the paperwork for this, this, and this? And they realized they didn't do that, because the Board of Selectmen's already approved this. So, there's nothing for any of us to do. But I think, again, it's a formality. It was like, oh, we did everything except this, so.
We should still write the letter,
okay, is there anything else that anyone wants to bring up?
Did you want to talk about more things tonight? I'm teasing.
Public input?
No?
Public input?
Public input, okay.
I'll make it quick. It is painless. I heard that developer's comment earlier this evening, and as a member of the Board of Selectmen, I would just like to say, gentlemen, you are very fortunate to have Lisa Caledonia as your Conservation Commissioner.
We know that.
Agent, sorry, thank you.
You heard what I said to him. He has no business even considering trying to alter what we do on this commission.
He can do whatever he wants, let him waste a little time.
I will say this, as you go forward with your budgetary process, you might want to look into giving this young lady some help with a secretary or working with us to maybe create a little secretarial help for her. I would support that. Thank you.
Thank you, Lenny.
If I could just add and piggyback on that, if you look at the rest of the agenda and all of the updates that our agent gave, like I had mentioned, it was always consistent, the same thing. So, you look back at the recording, anyone can look at it, it's just, I think she's just consistent all across the board.
Thank you.
And we don't care what anyone says, Lisa.
Lisa, we're
Yes.
gonna keep you,
That's good.
I promise. Well, Jim, can you entertain a motion to,
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn at 9:25.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
aye.
Passes.
Early night.